our principal and our administration always has our backs on the playing fields or anything with athletics, along with all the academic stuff. It just allows us to do so much more and then to provide for all our athletes. So cannot thank our administration enough for everything that they do for myself, our program, and all the other programs that work out. Coach Williams?
Hey guys, y'all make sure to thank Steve and North Star before y'all leave tonight. They do a great job of hosting us consistently with banquets, so thank you, Steve, for everything you do. I just want to take a minute of your time to just congratulate these coaches and players on this success, not just this year, but over the past multiple years. Before Coach Turchin started coaching softball, North Cobb had played softball for 20 plus years and never won a region title. And to win 3 region titles back to back to back, that's phenomenal. So y'all give yourself a hand for that. And I think I said this last week at signing day. Some of y'all heard me say this. We were talking about just sports in general. And we had volleyball girls and softball girls sign in the first round. We had 7 total. But I've been at North Cobb for 27 years. This is my 27th year at North Cobb, 27 out of 29 years. This is the best wave of girls sports we've had at North Cobb ever. Mm-hmm. So congratulations on that. That is a testament to what you do day in and day out, what your families do day in and day out, and it's a blessing to have y'all here and what y'all done for our school and our community. So I just want to thank y'all on that. And again, thank these coaches for their hard work. Parents, thank you for everything you do for these children. They are, you raise them the right way, and they're going to come in here and do the right thing. So thank y'all. I do have I've got a date with my 2 daughters tonight. So I'm going to go eat dinner with my daughters, but I did want to come and congratulate y'all on that. So, and y'all enjoy your banquet. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to call Marcus to bless the food, and then when he's finished, how it's just going to work is players and coaches can go get GPA of 3.6 or higher. Last year they made the change. I think the school said they noticed that there was just a lot of students who had a 3.5, which is a great GPA, obviously, but they just wanted to increase it just a little bit. So currently in the second year, it's a 3.6 GPA, and I think we're all aware, just in the sports world, based on how talented you can be, there's scholarships out there, and that's one thing that drives a lot of people. Then even in the last few years, not only with a scholarship to be able to play, there's a lot of different avenues out there to earn more money as an athlete, which I think it was a long time coming, and it's great that a lot of these collegiate athletes get a chance to promote themselves a little bit more. But we know that softball doesn't last forever, so a lot of the hunger is trying to get that scholarship, get that money, get a free education, but that's part of the check mark. The other check mark is then getting a great education, because what you do there is what's going to fund your life, and your career and all that. So obviously, sports plays a part, but what we do in the classroom is the biggest part. The last few years, we have a lot of high GPAs. We have a lot of girls who do what they need to do on the field, but definitely in the classroom as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call them up in order just based on the rank of the GPA. So when you get up here and receive your award, just stand up here and then we'll get a picture of everyone. So don't get your award, just sit back down. So second year Scholar Athlete Award winner, Anaya Burns, 3.67. 6A, a third straight Final Four finish in Columbus, and all within a very unique 3 months. Sometimes seasons are very fortunate with weather, health, alignment, and playoffs, and last year was it. I think health-wise we were great, our alignment was great. I actually don't think I had to work on the field one time to get a field ready last year for rain or anything like that, which is very extreme. That is not the norm. But when you look at this year, it's the complete opposite. When we talk about injuries, when we talk about the weather, when we talk about the alignment in playoffs, it's probably why the state is choosing to go to a power ranking system in the playoffs, because certain teams get aligned in spots that they probably don't deserve, or teams that just shouldn't be meeting. So, our Sweet 16 matchup, Carrollton is probably the best 2 seed out there. We were in the middle of the pack of all the 1 seeds, so if you have a different setup, you're probably not having 2 powerhouses. I truly believe both of us deserve to be down there. These playoff brackets come out in mid-July, and I knew it was on the horizon in mid-July. I didn't know what Carrollton was going to be like, but I could have told you July 15th that we were going to play Carrollton in the Sweet 16. Then to see how great their season was, I knew it was going to be a great battle. So win or lose, there's nothing that we could have done with the seeding and how we match up. But it just shows you how different years are to years. And this year was definitely a challenge in a lot of different ways. Softball to me in our state will always be one of the toughest sports because you are coming off of the summer. There's not a whole lot of continuity. You're playing with different teams, or maybe you're not playing at all, and you get put right in. School starts. It's extremely hot. We've had double headers for the last 2 years, which I just think is asking a lot for everyone to stay at ballparks that late on school nights, that early into the season. Last couple of years, we have pushed and played 40 games, which is just a lot of games for a high school season. So when you look at everything that goes into a high school softball season, it is asking a lot of players, of coaches, of parents. And what stands out to me the most this season, and especially with this team, is that so many players were needed in so many different ways. And whether someone was out for a couple weeks, they had to come back in, where they had to shift positions, just the flexibility in what we had to do just to get through our region, to get through the playoffs, to get back down to Columbus really speaks volumes to what we did. So looking at through kind of all the chaos and all the mess that went on, we were left standing. We were there. And I know that we didn't make it to the final day. I know eventually we weren't standing, but only one team could be a state champion, and most other teams are not fortunate to be able to even have the experiences that we've had. So when I talk about standing, to win 3 region championships in a row and to do it in a region that is a gauntlet is very impressive. You look at other regions, and it might be one team only, or it might just be 2 teams, so they're not really playing for anything, where everything we had to do this year through 18 games, most of those games were very challenging. To get through Carrollton, right? To get through a team that I think if you play that series 10 times over, I believe they probably win a couple, right? I think they're just that talented where we had to have our best game and our best series to just get past them. And then once you get into Columbus, regardless of who's there, you're facing top-notch teams. To lose the first game and to just reset and go back and play the games and to win 2 in a row and again get to spots that most people aren't. When I say we're left standing, like we were left standing, we did what we had to do to get back to our spot down there and to give us our best chance of winning a state title. So through all the wins, some of the losses, I always reflected after games and on weekends with this team, and regardless of what practices looked like, however games turned out to be, I always told them that when the first pitch happened to the last pitch, like they were never not competing. I know no one out there wasn't trying to not get a hit. I know the pitchers weren't trying to dominate out there. We had an amazing defense all year long. So when you really watch us play, from first pitch to last pitch, they were as in it, ingrained, and competitive as they've been in the last few years. And I was unaware of this until Coach Bird, I think, shot a message to me maybe somewhere in the beginning of the season. But the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association, they have a high school ranking. So they do it for D1, D2, D3, junior college, and then they were, I think, 45 states playing the spring for softball. So they have a fall ranking and a spring ranking. And for this year, we were as high as ranked 9th in the country by National Fast Pitch Coaches Association. I've always used Max Preps for the rankings, which are generally good. I just don't think they're the best. They factor in some other things that I think the algorithms are unaware of. But you're talking about high-level coaches throughout the country who are looking at 5 states. So when I saw we were as high as 9th this year and then ended 20th, I just went back last year. I was like, we probably had to be somewhere last year. Last year we were as high as 6th in the middle of the year, and we ended 16th. So when we talk about you're one of the dominant teams in the area, which was always the goal, and then to know you took the state by storm, And then when I drop in the national rankings, sometimes I felt weird just using max preps, but when you see this for the last 2 seasons, you have 5 states and all the other states who check our rankings to know that we truly not only were one of the best teams in the state, but you're one of the best teams in the country. All right, for freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, I just call you up in groups. So just kind of speak briefly on you. Come up, you'll get your certificate from Coach Bailey. Stand up here, take a picture, and then you can sit back down. So for the freshman crew, we had 2 letter winners. All right, our defensive player of the year is not here, Alyssa Russell. For a catcher to be tabbed as defensive player of the year, it really isn't about the amazing highlight reel or a handful of plays that show off their athleticism. It's a blue-collar job. You are the captain on the field for the entire defense, and you are 100% engaged the entire time, so the mental wear and tear is real. I mentioned it to our team before the Carrollton series. I really thought the Carrollton series was going to be a great softball series in general because I went and watched them a few times, knowing how we play. It's a very functional game. Pitchers throw strikes. The catchers don't let a whole lot of balls go by. So you're really getting a true representation of the softball game where, regardless of what the pitcher is doing or not, balls are put in play, and there's going to be hits, there's going to be home runs, there's going to be potential errors. You're going to see a true softball game. And I was really highlighting Alyssa on that, knowing that when Leo or Kennedy is pitching, even if the ball is a little too high or too low, which they have excellent command, Alyssa just isn't allowing the game to kind of be like a 9-year-old game. There's not pass balls, there's not mistakes, and it looks normal. When you watch it, it just doesn't really stand out because it's just what's supposed to be done. But when you reflect and see how well she does back there, and how she's not giving extra team bases and 1 more runs. And if you can think to some of our region games, there are a lot of 1-run games that we won. There are a lot of games that we were down by 1 and we didn't win to the last couple innings. So the smallest mistake in the 3rd, 4th inning from the catcher could be 1 more run that just allows us not to win that game, allows us to not win region, maybe puts us in a different path where we don't get to Columbus. And that goes with everything in the game. But when you really think of stuff defensively, what Alyssa did this year, and on top of it, what Alyssa's done over the last 2 seasons has just been truly remarkable. So your defensive player of the year for 2025 is Alyssa Russell. It's the best record of any class in our program's history by about 20 games. When I look at you all 6 and, regardless of where your time was put in over the last 4 years, when you just look at this season, the way we needed everyone, right? When we talk about the injuries and where people need to go, we needed everyone out of your class to be a part on that field. And for some it wasn't the easiest ride, but there's never going to be a season where everyone's going to get what they want. Because if that was the case, I would have to find 16 spots in a lineup, and that's impossible. The game doesn't function like that. So to know that there's a lot of hard work put in, time dedicated, learning what they needed to get better at, where they're consistently out there to continue showing up through those 40 games, and trying to leave your stamp on this program is what it's all about as a senior. In one of our final games, and I'm very fortunate for the people here and some past players, but our fence was just a blue wall. It doesn't show anything. Now when you go to our field, whether you're an away team, a parent, a player, or Metro players, or when we have our camp, you start to see things that recognize what these players do. And I said it's meaningful. You might not know it now or you might not see it now, but eventually someone's going to come in 10 years and they're going to want their year to be in a white circle. They're going to want, someone's going to say, where's the state championship, right? So you're giving people another avenue to do even more than what's been done. So again, from your record to everything you did in this season, it really speaks volumes to who you all are and what type of players you are. Gabby, you came in 2 years ago with in-field experience and took upon a role of transitioning to the outfield. You put in a lot. Right, Alyssa Russell. Alyssa had to do a lot of double duty for her first 2 years. She contributed offensively for varsity in a meaningful way, but still was the person that was asked to go and get reps catching JV-wise. I will always thank Alyssa for taking on that role because when you are solidified in a varsity role, but you have to keep on going back and forth, it's really for the greater good of the program. Over the last 2 seasons, she's been a staple as her 3-hole hitter. She covers the zone back to front better than anyone, so change-ups, a lot of variation of pitches, not as many swing and misses on Alyssa's part. She only struck out 1 time this year. I was looking at the stats 3 nights ago. So to strike out 1 time on the season is, I don't know what to say. It's amazing. I'm like, there's something hadn't missed. Kathy is out had missed something, right? But that's a true stat. So it just shows you how well she is offensively. To be able to always put that ball in play. If runners are on third base after her, I know what the hitters are like, and anytime she's up, I'm like, be ready for that line drive. Don't get double up, because that's what Alyssa's hitting, is just she is hitting the ball head high and as hard as she can. So again, just a tremendous offensive player. And as stated earlier with her award, her work behind the plate has saved so many runs that don't show up anywhere on a score sheet. Her softball work and IQ will always be appreciated, but I thank her for always being the voice at practice, in the dugouts, when she has one of the most demanding, if not the most demanding position. She was there through and through. A 3-time region selection, 3-time first-team region selection winner. She was in the All-State game a couple weeks ago at Truist Park, and the Delaware State commit, number 25, Alyssa Russell.